Here's one of our 331 Ford Stroker engine, turnkey engines from CobraEngines.com here. We're going to show you how we hook up our wiring for the Vertronics distributors that we supply with our engines. It's a very simple hookup. We already have, there's just a red wire. It's already hooked up for you from the Vertronics distributor. That's on, already comes to you on the positive terminal of the ignition coil, and then the black wire off of the distributor is already on there for you on the negative side of the coil. Now the only wiring that you will have to do is you're going to have to supply one wire with an eyelet on there, screw it onto the positive terminal of the ignition coil, and that wire, all it needs is 12 volts of key activated ignition power on and off your ignition key to start the engine. So the only wiring that you have to do is one wire to the plus side of the ignition coil that has 12 volts key activated power. The negative side of the coil, that's where you can hook up the tachometer wire for the RPM tach that you'll hook up. And that's it. The timing is already set with our timing light, but if for some reason you need to set any timing, I'm going to show you how we do it and how to properly do it. So basically the Vertronics distributors have a vacuum advance hose on there. What we'll do is I'm going to start the engine up, and we're going to get the idle at the lowest setting that the engine can run, probably around 800 RPMs, and I'm going to pull the vacuum advance hose off of the vacuum advance. We'll loosen up the distributor hold down clamp, and with the timing light with the clamp set on number 1 cylinder right here on the passenger side front, we're going to go over to the timing scale right here with the timing light flashing. Right here is the timing scale, and I'm going to turn the distributor housing to the ignition timing. We set with the ignition timing, what we do is we turn the distributor until the reading is flashing on the balancer. There'll be numbers on the balancer, and when that reading gets to 15 degrees before top dead center, then we'll tighten down the distributor hold down clamp. And then what we do is then after the initial timing is set at 15 degrees before top dead center, we'll rev the engine up to 3,000 RPMs. And with the initial timing and the centrifugal weight timing combined together, the reading usually was around 32 to 34 degrees of ignition timing. And that's perfect. That's where we set them, and that's where these engines runs best. And then basically we just reconnect the vacuum advance hose and the ignition timing is set. So we're just going to actually start the engine up, and I'm going to disconnect the vacuum advance hose. I'm going to show you with the timing light. You'll see it flashing at 15 degrees. Now on the Ford engines, the rotor turns counterclockwise, so if you want to advance the timing, you'll turn the distributor the opposite, clockwise. If you want to retard the ignition timing, you'll turn it counterclockwise. So we'll start it up and just demonstrate how we have it set, and I'm going to rev the engine to 3,000 RPMs and show you that 34 degrees of timing. So it's pretty simple, and again, the engines all come to you with the timing already set and all the adjustments made, but this is just for a demonstration to show you how it's done. Alright, we just started it up. We already have it set at 15, but I'm going to show you. Disconnect the vacuum advance hose. Right there, the ignition timing is set. whistle timing is 15, and when it's revved up to okay, there you have it. Just going to hook up the vacuum advance hose. That's back on there. And we start the engine up. Bring the idle back up. That's it. That's how you hook up the wiring on a Pertronics distributor from CobraEngines.com here. We also have it's EngineFactory.com. We have our Chevy division. And then you have your our Ford division. One other thing I want to show you, if you are hooking up an electric fan, you never want to have the wire for the electric fan keyed into the 12 volts power off the ignition coil. What you'll actually do is you'll burn the module out in the distributor. So always keep the 12 volts power, key activated power to the coil independent on its own. The electric choke, you want to have that wire independently wired from the fuse box on its own. And then the electric fan, very important, never hook up an electric fan that is teed into the ignition coil, because the actual electricity can backfeed going right back in through the ignition coil, burning out the distributor. So that's very important. Keep all the wiring independently of each item. So that's that on our 331 stroker here.